And good evening, everyone, and welcome to the East Brunswick Township Council meeting for February 26th, 2024. Will everyone, if you can, please rise as we salute our nation's flag and remain standing for a moment of personal reflection. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Township Clerk, please call roll and read our statement. Adequate notice.
Councilmember Hall.
Here.
Councilman Wendell. Absent. Councilwoman Winston.
Here.
Councilwoman Zembicki.
Here.
And Council President McAvoy.
Here.
Also present, Mayor Brad Cohen.
Here.
Administrator Joseph Cusculo.
Here.
And Township Attorney Anthony Iacoca.
Here.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as required under Chapter 231, Public Law, 1975, by specifying the time, date, location, and, to the extent known, the agenda, by posting a copy on the bulletin board located in the main lobby of the East Brunswick Municipal Building, providing a copy to the Home News Tribune and the Asbury Park Press newspapers, posting a copy on the Township's website, and by filing a copy in the office of the Township Clerk, which will be entered into the minutes.
Thank you. Council, you have before you Resolution 24-83, adopting the meeting minutes from February 12th, 2024. May I have a motion?
Motion to adopt.
Second?
Second.
Is there any need for correction or clarification on these minutes? Seeing none, Township Clerk, please call roll.
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zembicki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy.
Yes. Council, we have a resolution of recognition. Am I right? We're ready for that one, right? Council, we have a resolution of recognition before us. Resolution 24-84, honoring and accepting the retirement of Lieutenant Sean Tulanes. I'm going to read into the record. Resolution honoring and accepting the retirement of Lieutenant Sean Tulane. Whereas Lieutenant Sean Tulane submitted written notification to the Township of East Brunswick that he will retire from the East Brunswick Police Department effective March 1st, 2024. And whereas on March 8th, 1999, Lieutenant Tulane began his career with the Township of East Brunswick as a police officer in the Patrol Division. He was later promoted to sergeant on July 1st, 2016, and again promoted to lieutenant on October 1st, 2019, a position from which he retires effective March 1st, 2024. And whereas, throughout his 25 years of service to the Township, he demonstrated exemplary characteristics to the Township of East Brunswick through his work ethics, dedication, leadership, team spirit, and enthusiasm to his duties. Therefore, let it be resolved that the Township of East Brunswick, that Lieutenant Sean Tulane, his retirement is hereby accepted on the effective date of March 1st, 2024, and be it further resolved by the Mayor and the Township Council of the Township of East Brunswick that they hereby extend their sincere and grateful appreciation for Lieutenant Sean Tulane for his 25 years of dedication and outstanding service to the Township of East Brunswick. Congratulate him on his well-earned retirement and wish him the happiness and good health in the years to come. Signed, Mayor Cohn and the respective council people. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zembicki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy.
Yes. Council, we have a presentation discussion item regarding the 2024 Community Development Block Grant. This will be delivered to us by Ms. Susan Fine, our East Brunswick Housing Specialist. Ms. Fine, the podium is yours.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you for the opportunity to hold a public hearing at this council meeting. My name is Susan Fine, and I'm the housing specialist for the township. The public hearing is a requirement of the Federal Community Development Block Grant, otherwise known as the CDBG program. Its purpose is to provide information, answer questions, and solicit suggestions for potential recipients. My goal here is to generate involvement in and establish the township's commitment to proposed solutions for our community. The Community Development Block Grant is a federally funded program. The annual CDBG appropriation is allocated between the states and local jurisdictions. Excluding entitlement cities, Middlesex County qualifies as an urban county with the population of 200,000 or more. For that, federal CDBG funding is allocated directly to Middlesex County for projects in 18 municipalities, which includes East Brunswick. We expect that this year, the East Brunswick CDBG grant this year will be about $125,000, which can be divided among several worthy projects. While there's no guarantee that this program will be continued in 2024, in the 2024 federal budget, hoping they pass one, we are operating optimistically. The objectives of the Community Development Block Program are to support community activities that will benefit principally low and moderate income individuals and families, also the elderly and those with disabilities. For instance, American with Disabilities Act's compliance is an approved activity. The preservation of historical sites, elimination of slums and blight, expansion of housing opportunities, and correction of health and safety code violation through housing rehabilitation are also eligible activities. Prior East Brunswick projects under this program include, but are not limited to, ADA modifications to our municipal buildings, programs as well as transportation for the senior center. There have been improvements to our historic as well as to affordable housing buildings, improvements, repairs, and capital improvements for nonprofits that serve the developmentally disabled, seniors, as well as our low-income residents. These projects are to be completed within 18 months of the grant allocation. Otherwise, funds may be transferred to other ongoing eligible projects. The township welcomes comments and suggestions for the spending of the potential CDBG grant funds from the community. I can be reached at the phone number 732-390-6870 or by email at sfein, that's S-F-E-I-N, at eastbrunswick.org. Submissions for these grant funds are due by March 5th, 2024. That's it. Are there any questions or comments?
Well, it's my pleasure to serve with Ms. Fine on the Housing Corporation project, so sort of in tune to what's going on, just like my fellow council people, but in a more detailed way for myself. The only thing I'm looking at is that 18-month period. Will you be able to spend that money before that exhausts?
Yeah, there's already a couple of projects that have been presented, so I think we will, and everyone's eager to spend it on good causes. So.
Thank you. Good luck with that.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the dais?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to open this up to the public. Does anyone from the public wish to address the chair with regard to this issue and this issue alone? Seeing none, we'll close that portion of the meeting. And we'll move to ordinance 2403. Right?
Yes.
Council, before we get to, I'm sorry.
Yes, Council President, just to let you know, the second presentation scheduled for tonight has been rescheduled to our next council meeting. The Route 18 Corridor Amended Redevelopment Plan to be presented by Edward Russo. Unfortunately, he's not able to be present tonight. However, this presentation will be moved to our next council meeting, which is scheduled for Thursday, March 14th. Thank you.
Township Clerk, would you please read ordinance 2403?
An ordinance providing for various general improvements in and by the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, appropriating $175,000, therefore.
May I have a motion?
Motion approved.
And second?
Second.
Is there any discussion needed on this issue that we have discussed? But any last minute thoughts? Okay. Roll call, please.
Open to
Oh, public hearing first? We'll open this resolution 2403 to the general public. Anyone wishing to address, please step forward. Seeing none, we'll close that portion of the meeting. And may I have a
Roll call.
roll call?
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambighi?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy?
Yes.
Thank you.
And let's move on to our report section of the meeting. Mayor Cohn?
Thank you, Council President. First, I just wanted to remind the council and the public that we are already and have begun working on our 2024 township budget. As much as we complain about local government, we're really ahead of schedule, even though from a business standpoint, there's no business that would never operate on a budget after the year's already started. But that's how government works, because we have to wait for numbers that come from the state. So we are expecting tomorrow to hear some numbers from the governor as he addresses everybody on the state address scheduled for tomorrow at, I believe, 1 o'clock in Trenton. The big number for us that we're always concerned about is what we are going to be getting in energy tax credits, which is generally referred to as state aid, which is our money. And each year that is subject to the possibility of being increased. The League of Municipalities has been working very hard to advocate for townships to make sure that the state makes its full contribution to townships, which last year was the first year they actually gave us an increase. Had been pretty much flat for a good decade before that. So we're hoping that that number continues to go up, because every bit of money that we get from the state helps us to not charge residents in the form of property taxes. So that's, and it's our money anyway. So that we'll be listening to very keenly. The other thing that I had passed out and asked the clerk to pass out to each of you was a letter sent by the clerk in West Windsor regarding a resolution that is going to be brought in front of the State Assembly and the state regarding affordable housing. As many of you know, the township is almost finished with its third round obligation. That is something that was given to the township in the form of a affordable housing requirement back in 2015. It was done honestly throughout the state. Every town was given an affordable housing obligation as the state made a attempt to try to make sure that we stick with our obligations to fair share housing. And they did that by changing and making it a constitutional requirement. It had always been something that was done through the legislature, and because it had not really been honored, there was a lot of times when the affordable housing obligation in more affluent states, townships were paid to less affluent towns just to not have to deal with an affordable obligation in more affluent townships. That was something that affordable and fair share housing wouldn't tolerate, and that's why it was moved to the courts as a constitutional change. In 2015, many of you may have been around at the time when the Township Council debated how we were going to account for the 315 units that East Brunswick was required to build over a 10-year period of time. As an aside, because of our housing corporation and the fact that we have, as a rule, constantly been working at trying to make room for people who have difficulty affording housing, our number of 315 at that time, considering towns that were similarly sized, was much lower than many other towns. Towns like South Brunswick and West Windsor were given numbers closer to 1,000 to 1,200 to build. And as many of you know, many developers don't make money on affordable housing units. So when you have approved a certain number of affordable housing units, you've essentially given a green light to housing, because most of those developers are going to build it for you and set aside a percentage of their building for affordable housing, but you've given a green light to close to 80% of full-price units that may not otherwise have been approved in your township. And that was going on throughout the state. The problem is many of you are actually seeing it now, because it takes time for developers to come into towns and fill those obligations. So as you crisscross the state of New Jersey, all I hear people complaining about are apartments and apartments and apartments and apartments. Well, that was an obligation that was based on the affordable housing third round settlements that every town got in 2015. You're first seeing that now. But guess what happens in 2025? The 10 years are over, and now you're going to be talking about a fourth round obligation. The resolution that you were being asked to sign on to from West Windsor is asking you to not approve, or to write to your assemblymen and your senators to not approve changes to the affordable housing as it stands right now. So keep in mind, it is a constitutional requirement that we do this. It's not as if we could change the Constitution, but that's not something that's easy to do. So in 2025, we're going to either act on behalf of our League of Municipalities, which has worked diligently, mayors such as Mayor Janice Marinoff in East Windsor, Colleen Marr in Fanwood, who have been involved in this affordable housing for decades now, have worked with our assembly representatives to try to bring some changes to that, to the legislation as it stands right now, based on the problems that they saw in the third round. The resolution that you were asked from West Windsor is asking you to not sign on for that in an assumption that you're going to get a better deal. That is not going to happen. If the legislation that we're being asked to consider isn't signed with the changes that are meant to improve things from the third round, then it just reverts to what happened in the third round. Nothing changes. It's not going to go away. We're still going to have to do it, and you will get zero changes at all. It is a constitutional requirement. So I gave it to you because I was asked to give it to all of the council members in every town. Every mayor was sent this in order for you to consider that. I didn't want you to think that it was nefariously not put on your agenda, but I think it would be foolish, personally, that's Brad's opinion, it would be foolish for us to sign on to something that doesn't at least get us better than where we are before, because if we do nothing, it just reverts to the problems that we had where townships were being sued, developers were being sued, and we ended up having a colossal problem. And for members of the public who don't understand how you got all those apartments as you crisscross the state, that's how it happened. Personally, I do believe that at some point there's going to be an oversupply of full-price apartments. I don't think that the need for affordable is going to change, but I do think that it's messing with the market for full-price units. But that is not for us to decide. It's not the question that we're being asked to consider. The question you're being asked to consider is to accept the changes that our legislators are trying to get, which will be beneficial, or keep it as it was. Those are your only two options. So I wanted to make sure that we spoke on that because, again, it was something that is going to come out in the next year or two as we wrestle with a new obligation, and the public that has pretty much given its opinion about apartments. Thanks.
Does the mayor of West Windsor have a timeline for her resolution to be passed by local municipalities?
Well, there's no timeline to it other than time is of the essence because the state is taking this up very shortly. It's in each house differently, but it's being taken up shortly because they want to get through with all of this so that plans could be made, and if there's any changes to the law as it stands right now, they could be implemented so that they're ready to go in 2025 with the same process that we went through in 2015.
At what point do we think we'll know what that change is the legislators are proposing?
I could get that to you,
Okay.
what's being proposed. I don't know if it's all going to be accepted, but I can
Right.
get to all of you what
Okay.
the changes are that are being proposed compared to what it was before.
And drawing a blank on his name, the chairman of the assembly.
Craig Coughlin?
Does he have a modification?
Well, this is Craig Coughlin's bill.
It is his bill.
Yes, Craig Coughlin and, who?
The assembly woman from.
Yvonne.
Yvonne.
Right. It's their bill.
Okay.
And again, a lot of mayors who have been involved with the affordable housing issue for years now have been working with them to try to make some modifications. That would all be improvements
Right.
for towns compared to as it stands right now. Many of you recall the lawsuits that were issued after the last one, the negotiations, and I have to say we were very fortunate in our town, despite whining about apartments, but 315 for a township of our size, that, by the way, in Middlesex County has the lowest percentage of apartments compared to any town in Middlesex. You would have never won a challenge to try to change that to a lower number. You would have zero chance of that.
Well, didn't South Brunswick challenge it?
South Brunswick.
And it backfired, right?
It backfired, and the courts doubled their number. So they agreed the number was wrong, so they doubled it. So the point is the courts are now in charge of this as opposed to the legislature. And the individual courts in each county are going to be sitting down with their planners and going to every town and doing the same process that they did 10 years ago, figuring out where there's places that you could put affordable type of space in your township. But they answer to the Supreme Court. So the odds of going to court and expecting that they are going to agree with you when they are being mandated by a court above them to put this in place, you're just wasting taxpayer dollars. You have no chance of winning that. So, and that's why most towns are in the process now of doing this. Now, all we're obligated to do is to make the zoning changes that would allow for those units to be built. We're not developers. The town is not a developer. If a developer wants to come in and take advantage of those changes and put something in those spaces, but as we stand right now, there are some places that we had agreed to in 2015 for which no developer has actually done or even submitted any type of plan to do. The township can't be blamed for that. They're not going to make us do more because that wasn't filled yet. They will take a fresh look at the township, work with our planning department, work with our housing department to make sure that we get the credits that we can for the things that we have been doing to help meet those obligations. But we will have to go through that in 2025, and the public should be aware of that.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Our business administrator, Mr. Crisculo.
No report this evening.
Our township attorney, Mr. Iacocca.
I have nothing to report.
Township clerk, Ms. Lawful.
I have nothing to report.
Council, any board or committee reports?
Yes.
Councilwoman
please.
Zambicki?
Thank you. So the Township Recreation and Parks put out this amazing annual report. Pages and pages and pages of accomplishments this year. It is one small
well, not so small, but one department in East Brunswick that really changes the quality of life for our residents. And I just want to go over a few of the highlights. So there were 2 awards that were recently presented from the New Jersey State Park and Recs. One goes to John Roche as Professional of the Year for the state, and John, you know, runs our Crystal Springs, amongst other things. The other one, this one is like so wonderful. It was a social media campaign of the year for the Winter Wonderland, and that was really coordinated by Marissa Costco. So those are 2 amazing awards. And then we have another one. This one's a National Rec and Parks Award, and this goes for the 30 professionals under 30 group, and our own Youth Council Director, Ashley Falcon, won that. So how amazing to have 3 really big awards given out to us here in East Brunswick, and it's just a testament of the staff that we have here. Some of the things coming up in the future, the golf outing for our Rec and Parks will be May 16th at Forsgate Country Club. We hope people from the community will join us. We are also working very closely with the VFW Post 133 to bring the Vietnam wall, the traveling wall, to the Community Arts Center. It will be arriving the Tuesday before Memorial Day and leaving the Tuesday after Memorial Day. So we are looking for events, you know, to showcase the wall. The staff is working on thinking outside the box and coming up with some creative ideas. And I believe we're also moving the Memorial Day observation in front of the wall. So that's really exciting. Summer and spring registration is starting this week. So if you're interested in the summer camps and some of our other programs, be on the lookout for that. They are also developing a very user-friendly Rec and Parks app that you'll be able to have everything right at your fingertips, passes to Crystal Springs, registration, just everything right there. So that will be coming up. We also are starting our own pickleball club using the 6 courts that we have, and we're working with this group to expand, come up with ideas. For example, they're doing an indoor pickleball right now, and they're using the gym at Aldersgate. So that's wonderful. Cricket fields are in the process of being worked on, and the cricket club for 7 to 17-year-old boys and girls is now out there. So if you're interested, go on the website. You can register your son, daughter for that. Washington Heights Playground should be completed in April. Beaver Dam Park is on schedule to open again in May. The Office of Aging is thriving, absolutely thriving. A high number of new members to the point that they actually have to use a lottery in order to have some of our seniors attend events because we're exploding there. And that's a good problem to have, but we also have to work on figuring out how we can help that as well. They also are replacing the main doors to the senior center so that they will be automatic, which we need to, that's something we need to focus on. And they are doing an indoor pickleball court on Thursdays. And the idea is to get our seniors exposed to the pickleball so that we can make them a part of our pickleball club and go out into our community events. So that's a great idea as well. The Arts Commission, April, the Rutgers Opera will be April 7th. And on April 14th, the Fly a Kite Day will be honored and celebrated and that will be in the afternoon. And in the morning will be the Keller Run. So please look for information on that. Of course, this Sunday from 8 to 12 at the Hilton is our Daisy Breakfast to support our Daisy folks. And let's see. Crystal Springs, we're right around the corner, believe it or not. You can see the days getting longer and the temperatures getting warmer. Thankfully, we are ahead of where we were last year with getting future employees. So that's awesome. Now we just have to make sure they follow through because they have to also pass very rigorous tests in order to become a lifeguard. So we need to follow through with that and make sure that we get there. But it's looking very positive. let's see, March 2nd, Saturday, Fast Break Buddy Ball is from 12 to 2:30 at Churchill Junior High School. We have 93 students participating in it this year, so that is so amazing. And one last thing, something that I did not know and I thought was really interesting. Our Shade Tree Division of Recs and Parks, they're assigned 3 specific areas of the township to do all snow removal. And they did an amazing job. So like our township, we're tapping in all areas to keep the costs down. And this past 2 snows were, rather large, and they did an amazing job. So that's what I have, Council President.
Thank you.
Yeah.
5 minutes already.
Anything? Okay. I'll now open the meeting to the public for comment. Township Clerk, will you please read our public comment statement?
The public comment portion of our meeting is to allow the public to bring to the council's attention their concerns or comments in accordance with NJSA 10:4-12A and the East Brunswick Rules of Council. The council asks the public to limit their comments to 5 minutes or less. At the conclusion of the statements or questions from a member of the public, the council president, at his discretion, may choose to respond, not respond, or ask the administration to respond.
Thank you. Would anyone like to address the council president? Please.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
Good evening to the Council President, to the Mayor. Thank you for the opportunity to speak before you. My name is Judy Goldrich. I'm a resident of East Brunswick, 15 New Dover Road in East Brunswick. Before I begin the matter that I'm bringing to the attention of the Council tonight, I just wanted to express my thanks to the Council for basically its amazing stewardship of this town. All that gets done here, unless people are coming to these meetings and actually hearing what takes place on a regular basis, they have no clue. And just having had the opportunity to hear over the past number of weeks what actually goes on a regular basis, and the care and the devotion with which you attend to the township business is really remarkable. So I just want to express my thanks and the thanks of those that I have spoken with who agree with me on that. So the matter that I'd like to bring to your attention tonight is, it actually flows from, I think there was a notice that had gone out about the no knock or do not knock registry. That is a wonderful innovation. What concerns me, though, is that there is another companion ordinance provision, which is called the Do Not Drop Registry. And just to explain what I found out about that by looking at the ordinance, which is East Brunswick Township Ordinance Section 135-23.2B, and it's titled Do Not Drop Registry, that enables East Brunswick residents to sign up specifically to opt out of having circulars and flyers and so forth thrown onto their driveway, walkway, sidewalk, what have you. And I was surprised to find that when I contacted the deputy clerk to ask to be placed onto the Do Not Drop registry, I was told that no such registry exists yet in East Brunswick. And basically, they were very kind and accommodating, and I commend the deputy clerk for, working with me on this. But basically, what she had to do was to call some company which is responsible for dropping these circulars all around town and ask them to please not send it to one address in town. Well, there's an 800 number. If someone picks up, good luck. And if someone is actually able to talk with you, based on what I've seen on the Better Business website reviews, this company is it's falling short of what it really should be doing in terms of responsiveness to residents of our community. And therefore, what I would like to ask is that some attention be given to this specific ordinance, this specific section 135-23.2B, do not drop registry. I'd also like to point out some of the problems that it has caused, at least in our neighborhood, and I'm assuming it's very similar all throughout East Brunswick. For example, number one, there have been issues where these flyers are thrown during snowstorms or just prior to the advent of the snow falling down. For example, in an early morning, the snow covers the circular. We get out our snow blower and out we go. And before we realize it, our snow blowers have jammed because of the circulars chewing up or being chewed up in the auger in the mechanism. We personally have had to repair our snow blower twice to the tune of several $100s because of this problem. So that is one example of a problem that is caused by this activity. The second one, which is not insignificant, is if you walk on just about any street in East Brunswick, you will notice sometimes weeks and weeks and weeks of these circulars in front of homes, in the roads, by the sewer drains, the gutters, getting just mashed up. They become pulp, they become garbage, they become pollution. And so from an environmental standpoint, it doesn't really benefit our community to have these things sitting in front of people's homes week after week, many of whom, do not even wish to have them delivered either. But as of right now, as we've seen, because there is no mechanism to get onto the registry, which was supposed to have been established, this is an ongoing problem. So I would like to request that this matter be looked at and that the implementation of the ordinance actually be carried through and that a do not drop registry be established. And if these businesses do not respond to these requests from our registry in East Brunswick, then I would like to request that the township perhaps look at other types of interactive mechanisms with these companies, perhaps implementing fines.
5-minute mark, put a wrap on it.
Okay, but perhaps for a fine, if that doesn't work.
Something that, because of what you said with regard to, some attention will be given to this issue, and how about if you come back in 2 weeks for our next meeting, and we'll see where we're at.
Wonderful, thank you very much.
Okay. Anyone else wish to address the Council President? Gentleman in the back? You have her phone number?
Tom Ingrasani, Deerfield Road, Town Council, Mr. Mayor. I checked into that senior tax freeze program, okay, for seniors like me. You should receive a booklet in the mail by March 15th. I already received mine, and in 2022, it was $99,000. It's up to $150,000 for income for the family. And now you have up to, for 2023, there's a filing date by 2023 by October, and that was up to $163,000 per family income to get a tax freeze. And if you didn't get the booklet, I think you got to call the State Department. And it sounds good. You could save $2,000-3,000 a year on a tax freeze. The other question I had is, the diner opening up, Seville Diner, and when is Chick-fil-A opening up? Anybody have the answers to
I
that?
have a calendar for you, Mr. Ingrasini.
You have a calendar?
I do not have a calendar.
Well, I just
for
want to
you.
know,
No.
is Chick-fil-A still going through? I mean,
There's no buzz that I can share
Okay.
with you.
and, other than,
Popeye's open.
what?
Popeye's open.
Oh, yeah, that I
The
know.
only White Castle.
And everybody know the outcome of the the fire commissioner's thing?
Again, that's www.something.com.
Oh, I thought because it was election.
Right. You know,
Okay.
I was waiting as soon as the evening was over.
I thought I missed some, that's all.
No.
All right, thanks very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ingrasini. Anyone else wishing to address Council President? Seeing our mayor?
Just on the topic of the types of things that the state's doing to help seniors with their taxes, the senior freeze isn't new. That's been around since Corzine. And that's a program that allows seniors to cap their taxes at whatever they paid at age 65. You have to be over 65 to apply. The qualifying income, as you said, changes each year. And if you qualify, you're under that number, then your taxes will be capped at that number that you were paying when you applied, or 65, whichever is first. You still have to pay your taxes. It's a state refunds you the difference. So that's, program's not new. That's been out. The only thing that changes is the qualifying income. The other program that was approved and has been now in its second year, maybe a third year, depending upon what the governor says tomorrow, is the Anchor program. And the Anchor program is based completely on income. And it is a refund from the state on your property taxes. Renters do count as well. So you're encouraged to apply. apply. And then the third program, which will be new, I believe, starting in 2025, is the Stay New Jersey program. And that program allows seniors, you have to be over 65, you have to have a family income under $500,000 a year, which is likely most people. And that will give you half of your property taxes back up to $6,500. And again, you pay your taxes and the money comes back from the state. That doesn't go into effect until next year.
Close the public portion. Let's move on to our consent agenda. And before I ask you for anything to be removed, I just want to make a comment on Resolution 24-89, the emergency management coordinators, Mr. Austin Cosick, Police Chief Frank Lasaka, and Lieutenant Jason Fama have been accepted as our emergency management coordinating team, and those titles they will retain for the next 3 years. Does anyone need anything separated from consent? Township Clerk, would you please read the consent statement?
Ordinance number 24-85 through, resolution number 24-85 through resolution 24-95. The following items are considered to be routine and non-controversial items by the Township Council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a council member so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda to be discussed and voted on following the approval of the remaining items listed on the consent agenda.
And once again, does anything need to be removed or separated? Seeing none, can we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambicki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy.
Yes. And there are no ordinances for introduction. How about, go to the cause? I've got a few. Our East Brunswick Police Department is now hiring certified police officers. Go to tinyurl.com/EBPDjobs for information on that. I had to remove maybe about 4 or 5 from
Sorry.
Councilwoman Zambicki's list. You're right, a lot going on. I mean, as was said, there's just it's a beehive of activity. I find myself with a lot of time on my hands because of the big word called retirement, and I'll watch over at the Edison town council meetings, I'll watch Woodbridge Town Council meetings, and they don't have this. They don't have, and their population of Edison is twice us. Population of Woodbridge is twice plus. Now, I'm sure they have some programs, but they're not informing the community as to what is going on. We just covered the property tax relief stuff, so I don't need that one, right? Senior freeze, okay, blah, blah, blah. Saturday, March 9th at the Brunswick Square Mall from 11 a.m. There will be a community resource fair, job openings, volunteer work, registration with the community programs. Little League opening day. That's a big one. Parade starts at 8:30. So they want the date I have is April 13th, and they would like to see council personnel, mayor, if you know, same thing. Maybe we can get down there about 8 o'clock in the morning and participate in that. Friends of the East Brunswick Environmental Commission and the East Brunswick Sustainability Task Force has its free cycling day at the Community Arts Center on Saturday, April 28th, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. The EB Arts Commission is having their celebration at the Community Arts Center on April 27th from 12 to 6 p.m. Free rabies clinic for dogs and cats on May 4th over at the Saraville DPW garage. I guess they're in Cahoot.
All Middlesex County residents can participate.
There we go. And this is another one of the that Mayor Cohen covered. So there's a lot of things going on in our community. Adjournment. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Good night.